Hey y'all. What's up? So y'all know I usually do this on Sundays, but that is my bad. But everything works out because I have the lovely Dina, aka Christina, with me tonight. Hey girl, hey.
Hey.
Thanks for joining me. You
Oh,
know
no
I
worries, no
do.
worries.
You know it. Okay, y'all. So tonight was a good night. It was a good episode, and quite a few things happened. So let's get into that. So the first thing I want to get into is the couples going to see Intuitive Terry. Now, this was an emotional. Um, I think this was an emotional episode. Period, all around for DJ Silva and I think that he really had a moment in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean in the cave with Intuitive Terry. But all of the couples really had something going on. And so let's just get into that. So first of all, of course, let's start with the least to the biggest. So it seems that Chris and Monique have been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And of course they know her. So for them, it was, she's telling Monique and Chris that Chris needs to live through his own passion and not live through Monique's passion. And
Right.
it has been said, since this series started, that Chris lives through Monique. And I think Monique feels the same way, and I kind of feel that even Chris feels the same way, although he may not admit it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is very important that he does find his way. And I think if he does find his own passions, he'll have something to share with her. And I think it would be better for them as a couple. How do you feel about that?
I think, I mean, I definitely believe that, you know, it's almost like Monique kind of like cut him off and basically said the same thing he was saying, just using different words. Um, but it was almost like in a tone where, like, no, what she meant was, but you basically said the same thing. This is like, I don't know. But what I think is like Chris did have a very productive career, right?
Yeah.
Football career. And I feel like you have to take into consideration most professional athletes, unless they're just a phenomenon, have been playing sports since they could walk.
Yes.
So, Pee Wee football, Pop Warner football, middle school, high school, college, and on to being a professional athlete. Now, even though he did previously play for my favorite team, which has changed their name 1,000 times. Um, I know he had like a pretty extensive career in the NFL, right? So I don't know exactly how many years, but if you take, let's just say from the time he was eight, eight, okay. So
Okay.
from 8 to 18, that's 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Then he's got another 4 years of college, and then however many years he played in the NFL. So potentially he could have spent 25 years already. He doesn't know anything else. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah.
granted, he's got, let's just say, I don't know if these numbers are true, 25 years of experience. And he mentioned coaching. He'd probably be a great coach. And the way he's so supportive and he's got that smooth demeanor and the way he talks and everything is kind of like he's a big man. I don't want to upset him. He would be um to start out with like a defensive line, offensive line type of coordinator, coach, or things of that nature. And, being the way the NFL is, they are hiring more minorities. So I would say five. Originally, I would say 10 years, but because, they're doing it a little bit better and moving people up, 5 to 8 years, he could be a head coach somewhere.
He could. And I don't know. And I think she even also spoke about this, but him having, a sports podcast.
Mm-hmm.
you know, or being a broadcaster of it. Period. I feel,
Right.
especially with that voice.
He's already got the TV presence.
I was just about to say
He's a
that. He has
handsome
the
man.
voice. He
He
has the
dresses nice.
insight. He has
Huh?
the experience. He has the
Mm-hmm.
voice, the
He's
insight,
got
the whole package.
on
The whole package.
paper. He's got the perfect lineup for a number of things. He just has to figure out what he wants to do, because there's a fine line in the NFL world. Either you're going to be a commentator or you're going to be a coach. And sometimes you're a coach and then you become a commentator. But it's rare, except for Deion Sanders, because Deion Sanders, he was commentating for a while and now he's a coach. So you can't, you could probably, he could break the barrier, but you really can't be both at the same time, because then how would you be biased when you coaching or assisting coaching or whatever for another
Right.
team? But I believe that, he does have it in him to be great at whatever he puts his mind to. But I also believe that there was a time frame where he was trying to let Monique do her own thing. And in that time frame, when she was on the other show and her other business ventures, like he's kind of like sitting back like, I'm gonna just chill for a minute, because people don't realize, I mean, if you're like, unless you're like really, really into the sport, but even still, the wear and tear that professional athletes put on their body.
Oh,
And once they've gotten all the accolades they're going to get and their body has given out on them or whatever, and they can retire on a high, so to speak, then they're kind of like, yeah, I ain't doing nothing for a minute. I got my money, I got my spouse, I got my kids, I don't mind being there to pick them up, take them to lunch and bring McDonald's, go to the daddy-daughter dance. It's like all these things I missed in life when I was out there on the road, in conditioning, all these different things, traveling, yada, yada, whatever. So I feel like now he's woke up and he's like, okay, I had my little rest period or whatever. Hey, kiss my
hey,
cheeks.
girl, hey.
I feel like he's had his little rest period, and he's ready to move around and do some things. He just has to figure out what he wants, to do on his own.
Definitely. And at the beginning of the season, he always talked about, I always felt that as long as I was a present husband and a present father, I was doing everything I had to
Mhm.
do. So it took him a while to finally understand, and he seems to just now be getting that hey, I do need to do more as a husband and as Chris Samuels myself.
Right.
you know
But himself, I think, is the key issue, because he's always been a provider. We've seen from the other show, he's always taking care of the kids when she needed to go do this, that, and the third. And I think in this moment of this show, Monique is asking for him to be there specifically for her and himself. Not necessarily, I'm not saying not they're not together, but we're not talking about the Chris and Monique show. We are
right.
talking about the Chris show, and then the Chris and Monique show. You know what I'm saying? I need you to step up for me and be present, with me, and when we talk, and we need to connect, because a lot of times what happens is people get married or have a long-term relationship, and they are so concerned with jobs, they are so concerned with kids, family functions, family vacations, and they go on and on and on for 15, 20, 30 years or whatever. All the kids leave the house, go off to college, start their own kids, and then they look at each other and they don't have nothing to talk about.
Yes, exactly.
So then it's like, so what's your favorite color? So you mean to tell me for 30 years you didn't like my lasagna? You, you know, you just
Not the
ate it.
lasagna.
You just ate it so the kids would eat
I'm
dinner.
out for the food now.
You know,
You've been
So,
eating my lasagna this
it's
whole time. You mean you tell me you don't like my lasagna?
right. And you was like, yeah, baby, I was just eating that lasagna because the kids wouldn't eat it unless they saw me eat it. So, but I'm saying, you 20, 30 years later, y'all are at a disconnect because what do your conversations revolve around? You don't got to pick nobody up from practice. You don't have to drop somebody off at the dentist.
Right.
You're not making scheduling times for doctor's appointments. It's like everything that was at one point in time revolved around your children. And even with the football thing, when the football thing was over, you're not going to all of the parties as much. You might go to some, but you're not invited to, or you don't attend. I don't
There
want to say
you go.
invited. You're not attending every party because it's not mandatory anymore. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be at every game, sitting in the wives box, putting on, the wifely outfit and supporting and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that aren't going on that were time consuming before that you no longer have to do. So it is time for both of them to step up and I think it would be really nice for them to find something they could both be passionate about, not like TV wise, but um
Yes.
like she has her businesses over here, he does the coaching and commentator thing on over there. And if they could um do some type of black love empowerment speaking engagements together, um couples therapy, like get life coach certified, where they take couples that have similar situations to them or something like that. Or even if they did a foundation to help women and children, or men and children, that are in need of something passionate they could do together, and then something passionate they could do separate.
I agree. They both have, they're very known, so they could do a lot of work together and separate because they both have their own thing. And
Hmm.
especially him. But I feel for him, he really needs to I feel he should focus on him first before
Yes.
them because he has to make himself whole himself to be complete to her.
Right, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Absolutely. And that's the whole thing. And I think that's what she is trying to get out of him too. Because, when because you know how when you're depressed or whatever, and you're not, things aren't going the way you want it to go in your life, it's like you're not going to be that great to someone else,
Right.
especially to someone else who is doing great in life and on top of that game because y'all on two different levels and y'all wavelengths ain't coming together, y'all not compatible at that moment. So I feel once he gets himself where he wants to be, however he wants to be, he will be a better person to himself, therefore he can be a better person for her as well. And then I think
Definitely.
they can finally meet and come together and then start doing things together. Like they can have their own, he could have his own sports podcast. She's got her own radio thing going on. Then they could have their own podcast together.
They can have a little love call-in podcast or something. Because
Yes.
they already know the ups and downs. Now, granted, I know they're working on year 10 or 11 or whatnot, but I mean, and there's people out there, like the other couple, they're going, what, 25, 26 years. It's like, but still, how do I get to 10? You know what I'm saying? There's some people out there like, how do I get to 2? How do I get a ring? You know what I'm saying? So I believe in each stage of the marriage, you know what I'm saying, that they could, give some words of wisdom
Yes.
and
They
even
got
have guest speakers on there that could help them work through a relationship. Because I can almost imagine that 90% of whatever it is they went through, there's hundreds of thousand people that are out there going through the same thing. So for them to get on there and talk about it and how they worked it out, they can help a lot of people.
absolutely. I agree. I possibly completely agree. Okay, so we also had two other couples. We had Arena and Jamie there also.
Mm-hmm.
And they both came in looking like, you know what, I'm skeptical about this. I don't know what intuitive Terry thinks she about to tell me about myself. I don't believe this. Like they was already about ready for it to be over before it
Mm-hmm.
even started. But
But a
however,
hit
I
dog
don't
will
know.
holler.
But I don't know if it was just how editing did it, but she started with them. And
Mm-hmm.
right away, they were both blown away about her intuitiveness because she hit it right on with them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it took a lot for Jamie to actually have to hear about himself the way that he was. So you could see his facial expressions at first, like, what did this lady know about me? Even though he knew she was right, he still wasn't feeling it because it's like she's calling him out. And any other time that you see, someone in the family doing that, he always brushes it off. That's exactly what Brittany and Irena talked about when they went to dinner. By the
Right.
way, everything on that table, I wanted to smash. But that's a whole
Everything. I was so hungry. I had to get up and eat me a little snack after watching that.
girl. That macaroni was just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the muffins was, girl, I needed it all in my life. But anyway, so yeah, so everything that she was saying, he hit round the head, and she talked about his aggressiveness, and that is not a word that us black people like to hear this day and age right now because
Unless it
that is a very
actually
touchy word.
fits.
Yes. So, but she hit it on the head. She had to tell him, you tend to be this way. You want to shut people down before you even get it all out, and then once you do, it's like you don't want to deal with it, and you just walk away from it. And that is very hard to even get anywhere. When you're trying to have a situation or conversation with someone, walking away is the last thing you want to do. And especially just coming back acting like nothing ever happened. And you have seen that happen in previous episodes between him and Arena,
Mm-hmm.
that they have a situation discussion and then they just drop it. They're like, okay, where we ready to go eat? And I think that even though Irena appreciates that it could be dropped, I don't think she appreciates the fact that it's just swept under the rug because a lot of
Right.
times
It's not
there's
it's
more
not
emotions
addressed.
involved.
And all that sweeping under the rug got a mountain up under that rug. But what I'd like to say is that I think it took Jamie hearing it from someone who wasn't related to him for
Mm,
it to have the impact. Not to mention this is a woman who don't know him from Adam.
yeah.
As probably has never been to any club event or anything that he has ever done in his whole entire life,
You
has
can
not
tell.
read about him in the blogs or anything of that nature. So her coming in very as an unbiased, stranger or whatnot, saying what she said. But what I know that they talked when we were on the panel Saturday. But what people fail to realize is that especially in quick situation as well, men have achieved what was unachievable. Okay,
Or what
they've
they
got
thought was
they've
unachievable.
got a
Still
wife,
unachievable.
they've got a family, they live past 25. They're not incarcerated, they're not selling drugs, they've got home, they've got beautiful children, they've got independent businesses, they've got all this. So yes, if somebody tries to come for my family, I'm gonna be a pit bull, a bulldog, a rottweiler, assault rifle, whatever. I'm going to be that because I've worked hard against numerous odds to get to where I am. But at the same time, at what cost?
Yes.
Because you have all those things. Hey, Lee with the T, you have all those things,
Hey,
right?
girl.
Which are beautiful things, especially the family. I'm not talking about the material things. I'm talking about your character, your dignity, a healthy family, it's a tight knit family unit and whatnot. So you have all those things, the deep, family roots and all that. You have all those things, but at the same time, your family and things are unraveling, thread by thread, not rope, but thread by thread, because there's a lot of pressure on you. You're snapping, you're lashing out at people, you're pushing people away, you're doing all these things. So, in one breath, you're protecting, you know what I'm saying, everything you've created and attained against all odds. But in the other hand, you pushing it away.
Absolutely.
And I think some of that applies to um Quick as well. But I really loved, I know I'm kind of going to the other side real quick. I really love when Chris said, "Man, I feel like he see you." I think he needed somebody. He probably feels it, but maybe he thought it was crazy. Like, there's no way my daddy could see me. But I feel like when Chris said it, he could feel more comfortable in believing that his daddy can see his accomplishment and his mama and daddy are proud of him, even though they're not here on earth to see it.
Absolutely. And that's just jump right into him anyways. His session with her was the most emotional,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just emotional for him all the way around. You could tell him fighting back the tears the moment he started speaking. You could see his eyes so red and glossy looking from the nose and everything. Like, it was hard for him. So you could tell that he has been holding on to this for a long time. And it finally broke through to the reason why he worked so hard the way that he does. It's not just about the money. It is his coping mechanism, and that is all that he knows how to cope. And so with that, his coping is breaking him. And it's like a cycle because he's coping because he's already broken. And so
Right.
he's not healing at all. And
He
I
does.
think
He's not
him
giving
jumping
himself
in
the
to say
time.
something about it helped, because it has been something that has been going on in his head, in his mind, and in his heart for so long. And it's been putting weight on his soul. And now it's like he can finally be free because, yes, he can understand that, yes, his father does see him. And I'm sure his father is very, very proud of him as well. And I think he did need to hear that, and he needed to know that in order for him to be able to keep pushing and cope in a different way. And like, you don't need to just, spend, be a DJ and have that money coming in. That's not what it's about. Now, at this point, I feel that now that he has dealt with it, he can continue to deal with it. You see how he went to his father's grave site,
Mm-hmm.
read that letter for the first time in 30 years. Like, it was like something like opened up for him. Like, he had a weight lifted off his shoulder.
And I do wish that a lot of us could have that eye opening aha moment, as Chris would say, because, men in our community aren't taught to be in touch with their feelings. Let's just take it back. You got two kids, they twins, same age, boy, girl.
Mm-hmm.
The girl goes outside, steps off the porch wrong. She falls. Oh my God, my little princess. Are you hurt? Let mommy kiss it. Blah, 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 whatever.
Yep.
Oh, let's put a band aid on it. Ain't even a bruise there, a scratch or nothing, but we going to put a band aid on it. Little boy, later that day, next day, comes out, falls off the same step. Boy, you better suck it up and don't you cry. Real men don't cry. You's a man. You don't do that. So you take that times 20 years, and I do understand where he was coming from, because sometimes when people your parents or grandparents or elder that you're close to, or if you live in that lifestyle, a good friend that leaves you to what you perceive to be too soon, what you do is, if you're in a pivotal moment in your life, like he said he was 9, so for 9 with your mom, about to hit pre-puberty, blah blah blah, who knows what was going on friends wise, that you didn't have anybody you could cope with this. But at 18, to lose your father is a very pivotal age. right? So what
Yeah.
am I about to do with my life? Am I going to college? Am I enlisting? Am I starting my own business? Am I doing whatever? Like all these things are going through your brain at 18. And so for something like that to happen probably really throws you, off your game. So what do? I don't want to think about the fact my father's no longer with me. I'm now the man of the family, right? So I gotta work. I gotta do this, that, and the third. And then, however many years later, you sit back and you're like, I haven't even had a chance to grieve. Now, myself personally, I've experienced this when my grandmother passed away on Christmas. I got up, I got the call. I went to work because I was already planning to go down there the following weekend. So I'm going to work 10 days straight so I can have these 4 days off. Boom. I drive 17 hours to get there, go to her funeral, mix and mingle with the family, drive another 17 hours home. And guess what I'm doing? I'm going back to work. And I swear that happened, on Christmas. So it might have been March, maybe even May. I don't know. And I'm sitting in one of my little spots, and one sweet day comes on, and the floodgates open because I never had time to sit and grieve. Like, few tears, here and there, talking to people, exchanging stories and whatnot. But there was never a full breakdown of, the grief. And I honestly believe from the way that the scene was portrayed, he may not have ever he may have went way, 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 way longer than me. I don't think he's ever gotten that grief, gotten that out of his system, because it's like in an instant, you now the man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or he felt like that. I'm not sure. I was trying to run and get on here, so I saw part of the grave scene. So I don't know if he's the oldest or the youngest or how that really
I
worked.
didn't think it really touched on that. It was just more about the fact that, did he feel that his father was proud of him? And,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they were actually able to come together, and be able to do this, and about the letter and it being 30 years, and the fact that, yeah, you're told to man up and be a man. And they talked about how when they went to his mother's funeral, and their father told them, when you get in here, don't cry, suck it up, you a man. And it seems like they've all lived with that,
Mm-hmm.
carry that with them all of this time. So that's all that they know,
Right.
to suck it up and not show your emotion. And they brought up the fact that, yeah, because once you just keep holding it in, bottle it up, that bottle is gonna bust at some point, regardless. It has to bust at some point, because there's going to become a time where you cannot hold any more in. There is no more space for any more mass inside of that bottle.
Right.
It
It's like
has
putting a
to
Pepsi
bust.
can in the freezer for a week and thinking it's not going to bust.
Exactly. And that
Actually,
is
you
the
probably
same.
really got like 48 hours max. But you know what I'm saying.
Yes. So I think it was therapeutic for all of them to actually be together and do that, because it's something that they have never done before. And I feel that if it was never for Intuitive Terry, that moment would have never happened, because I think he got a lot more out of that exercise than anybody in that room.
And I think it's good when people step out of the box, because they're like, look, what I'm doing I know ain't right. Why I'm doing it, I don't know. But what I'm doing, I know it ain't right. Or sometimes I know why I'm doing it, it still ain't right, but I don't know how to fix it. So for them to be able to come in this moment, to be open minded, like we said, they were Jamie and Raina, they were a little skeptical, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning, but at least they were open minded enough to receive what she had to say.
And I
And
think they were the
so,
most wowed by her at the end of it all,
right.
too. Even though Quick got the most
Yeah.
out of it, I think they were the most wow. And I think even for going back to the Tylers, even for Irena, because she was able, because Intuitive Terry was able to show Jamie, when your wife needs you in a certain way, when your wife's crying, you need you don't just need to just tap her and be like, okay, whatever. But actually, like she said, I need a hug. So let me know it's okay, because she
Right. You
feels
don't even have
that
to
she always got
discuss
to be
it.
perfect all the
You
time.
don't even have to discuss it. There have
No.
been so many times when, in different places that I've worked, and I won't even say friend, I'm associates or their co-workers or whatever, and we might shoot the breeze at lunch or, whatever. And I'll be walking down the hall and they look sad. They're not, they're normal, whatever. And I'll be like, hey, you all right? And they'll just look at me and the tears get to flowing and I just hug them. I don't know what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And then they stop crying and I said, hey, let it all out. And if you want to come talk about it later in my office, I'll be there. And if not, I hope everything works out to the best benefit of you. And I think he did say, when they talked afterwards, he was kind of like shocked. It caught him off guard. And so he was kind of like tapping her, like, what's going on? Not necessarily to hush or, pipe that down. But sometimes I think, it just takes an outside person to point out, um, some things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever play that game like, these two, which one of these two pictures is not like the other one, or it's three
When
pictures,
you
which
not
one is not
belong.
like the other one, or
Yeah.
find the two pictures side by side, find the mistake. um and sometimes it's just a swoop of hair, or it's something so tiny, but you got to get somebody else be like, I found five of the six, where's the sixth one? And they come right over and find it.
Yeah,
There's a fresh
exactly.
pair of eyes
And plus, when you
looking at the
are looking
situation.
at something for so long,
Exactly.
you don't see it the same way anymore. It just becomes numb to you. Like, I have like this speck on my computer right now that's been here for like 3 days. I noticed it the first day, like it kept bothering me, but now I don't even see it right now. You like become blind to what you see.
Exactly.
The longer you look at it, it becomes like that's supposed to be there, because you've looked at it for so long and your mind is programmed like to see it and to know that it's there. So now it becomes normal.
Exactly. But normalizing some things isn't the greatest things, because with both Jamie and Quick, they're pushing their family members away. Because here's the thing, yes, my man works and he provides me and my children with all the luxuries in life or whatever, but where's the time for me and my husband? Where is the time for us to be a couple? Where is the time for me to come to him and tell him what's been going on while I've been dealing with the kids, or I've been dealing with other family members? What if I had a bad day at work? You know what I'm saying? Where is that? Where's my time slot? You know what I'm saying? To get some attention from him other than intimate, extra intimate, attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, you want to snuggle, talk about your day, get your foot rubbed, back massage, something. Just lay in the bed and hold each other and tell each other you love them with, out the extras. But the extras is great, but you don't want it to just be about, like, we get up in the morning, we get the kids ready, we go work ourselves to death, and we come back home, we don't talk about our day, we get into bed, we do our thing, the next day rinse and repeat. That is not a happy, healthy marriage. So,
No.
and I'm not saying that that's the case in any of these situations. I'm just saying, because they don't have a lot of time with everything they have, with the husbands working as they do, you tend to sweep things under the rug, because the time you have together, you want it to be special and you don't want to argue. So, do I really want to be like, why do you take XYZ money out the bank when I haven't seen him in 3 days? And then he's got to get back on the road and do XYZ, or he's got this engagement and he'll be out of town for a week. And do I really want to ruin this 24 or 48 hours I have left with him before he goes and does whatever? So there's that.
There's that. Yes. So all in all of the couples got something very good out of this night. And I think it's something that they can carry on with them throughout their relationship and personally together and the whole bit. So hopefully, especially for, DJ Quick, that he gets what he needed out of it. Now, at the beginning of that episode, it did show that he went to the doctor because he had some things wrong with his wrist. And the doctor said, look, you need to take some time off. And see, even at that point, he was scared to take that time off. Like, you see him in the confessional and he was tearing up because you seen him doing all of this with his eyes not trying to show the tears. Like, that is all he really knows. And it scares him to not be able to DJ. Like, when he has to take that time off, it's going to be eye-opening for him. And I hope that he did take that time off, because I'm not
I do too. Because here's the thing, not just for him, but just for everybody. Again, you cannot pour from an empty cup, number one. Number two, there are a lot of people out here so busy running around taking care of everybody else, plus a full-time job, kids, dogs, whatever, family, and other extra family members. They're not taking care of themselves. But what happens is your body will force you to sit down and take care of yourself. And in some situations, it is minor, and in some situations, it is severe. So while he still has some hope to get his wrist fixed and calm down the inflammation and do what he needs to do and stop overworking himself, he should do that, because some people have worked themselves into stressful situations, which we all know for the African American community, stress is a silent killer. It causes heart disease, strokes, diabetes, and a whole nother round of other health issues. So the fact that as African Americans, we are predispositioned to certain illnesses, when you compound stress, lack of sleep, lack of healthy eating, things of that nature, it intensifies your chances of getting one and or all three or five or however many diseases. I mean, I've seen people with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, and could possibly be potentially near a stroke. So, and they have it all. They usually have very high stressful jobs or a high stress family unit. So you definitely want to take time out for yourself, vacation, take time off work, see a doctor regularly, because again, we are predispositioned to get certain illnesses. So you need to take care of yourself. So that's how I feel about that. But I think he got it in the end, because I think he connected the dots like, okay, my wrist is messed up. I need to stop working so hard. And I think there was a long bridge in between the two, but
very long.
I think he connected the dots in the end.
Eventually. And hope that he did, because he's an amazing DJ, and if he want to continue to do what he do, he's gonna have to take that time off before it comes permanent, and he ain't gonna have no time back on.
Mm-hmm.
Then what's he gonna do? And then, like he said, what am I supposed to do? Just stay home, do whatever, eat all day, get fat. He got all of that just from the doctor saying 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That's all it was.
Well, I can understand the get fat part, because he been trying to look good for his wife. So I get that he don't want to become, a couch potato. I feel you, player. But you can sit at home and have some leg days. You can get on the treadmill, do some cardio. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to get fat. You just got to sit your butt at home.
Just leave the wrist alone. And like Ashley said, you don't get that wrist together, you can't grab that ass no more.
Right.
You want to be able to grab that?
She had to dangle the carrot, because she had to put it in to some terms that he could understand.
Yeah, basically.
Like the doctor was like, yeah, you won't be able to DJ no more. Oh man, I don't know. Like she was like, yeah, you ain't gonna be able to grab this ass no more, because you need two hands. And he thought about it he was like, yeah, you could tell that he was like looking all like, she got a point. I do need two hands.
Put into some perspective that he can understand.
Right.
Ashley know how it goes. She know what to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Y'all
Now,
make sure y'all come when y'all come through. Y'all gotta throw the crayons up in the chat, and y'all make sure y'all hit the like button.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Y'all know what to do.
But
Now, on
are we
to
gonna talk
the
about winter and these
On to the
Karen?
girls. You know we are. That is where we are headed to. So Monique decides to get the girls together
Mm-mm.
to
We
have
gotta
their
do the children first. Because the
the what?
children was first. Well, didn't they do the kids first?
They did okay. Yep, they did to the children first. So let's talk about that because we got to see that was actually one of the preview clips we got to see before the episode aired. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually posted that and a lot of people had things to say about that, which was
Mm-hmm.
a little mixed, but as you had seen, Winter was getting ready to, she was packing, getting ready to leave for 5 days, and she let the kids know and let them know that, look, the family's been going through a lot, and I just wanted you guys to know that I finally did, go forward with the divorce. And that is when her kids were like very happy about it, especially her daughter Kayla, because you seen her clapping for it,
Mm-hmm.
like she was literally clapping. And Winter asked her, she says, I would really love to know what you think about that because you're over here clapping. And she went in to explain to her, you know, I am happy that she's doing this. And then she came back and said, I'm upset that I didn't see the signs. I should have known better, seen better. And her daughter Kay was like, no, I would have to disagree because you didn't know. He was very manipulative with the love bombing and showing too much too fast and so forth and so on. And it is weird that she said love bombing because that is one of the things distinctly that I remember Winter saying when she was been talking about it since the show started on her lives and during her interviews, that she actually used the term love bombing. And I'm like, did she get that from Kayla? Because she gave Kayla a lot of credit for seeing, that and saying that or whatnot. So what did you think about that scene?
Well, I thought it was a little staged. I mean, even for reality TV, I thought it was staged. I get mad when they like throw some people in the room, and be like, talk about the weather. Um, I just feel like it's the way they were, and it could be the editing. I'm gonna blame it on the editing, but it was like they were looking back and forth, and I don't know if Winter was giving her um like little head nods and winks and raised eyebrows as like, yeah, that's how you were supposed to say that. I don't know. It felt a little rehearsed, and for her son to be that grown, you know, um and maybe because it's TV, because my son wouldn't have been there for all that. He'd have been like, F him. If he got something to say, he can roll through. I'll take him out back. We can get it in. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would have been like, oh, he out the family? All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody good enough for my mama anyway. He'd have, been rough, a little rough with it. You know what I'm saying? But, I understand this is, Love and Marriage DC, not Las Vegas. So, but yeah, I just really wasn't feeling the whole scene. I felt like they were, prompted or, whatever. Now, granted, they're older, you know what I'm saying? So, um, but it's kind of crazy how there's like, well, she was married to this NFL player, and we've got NFL players on there, but they won't say his name, and I just haven't got bored enough to Google it. But it's kind of like, did he target her because he felt like she was the ex-wife of an NFL player and she had some money, and kind of like the Tinder swindler thing where I'm gonna drop a little money in the beginning that I
Mm,
really don't have, that I got from somebody over here?
Right.
And it's the whole Ponzi scheme. And then when I get in good and I can get access to her money, and then I'll be using her money to woo the next one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really don't know all of the situation. I will be anxious to hear his side versus her side so I can decipher what matches up and what could be true and what not. But I don't know. I just felt like um it just seems like when we talk about the timelines of the dating and the marriage, like it all happened so fast. I
I
really
mean,
would have
it
liked.
was all so quick; it had to happen.
Right, because they were talking about it on the other panel when they broke the timeline down of, they got married July 15th of 2020. Okay, so if they dated for 6 months, so sometime December, late November, December, or whatever, early January, somewhere in that little time frame, because people be off by a couple of weeks or whatever. Um, and then you get married during the pandemic. Um, and for most of us, we heard reports of some people getting sick and this, that, and the third. And towards the end of February, people were, because I remember there was a broadcast on my birthday, and the president at the time was like, "Oh, it's nothing to worry about. We've had very few cases, yada yada, whatever." And then they shut the world down on our end. At least the United States shut down March 16th.
Mm-hmm.
So you got April, May, June, July. 4 months later, they get married. So all that seems kind of weird to me. I know people
It's
who had
very
already been planning to get married were doing Zoom weddings, um, or they was just going to the courthouse and having backyard things with, the number cap and things of that nature. So it seems kind of weird to me that two people just met would still get married during a pandemic. I could understand if your wedding was already planned, like, I'm in that industry, so most of the time people plan a wedding a year or more out. So
mm-hmm.
I could understand if you had planned and paid for a deposit or something the year before, kind of like
That's
how.
what I wonder. Who planned and paid for it? Who
Well,
paid?
just like how
Who ended
Cynthia.
up paying for it? Because if you a scammer, you're gonna find some way to have the woman pay for it anyway. So I'm wondering, did she pay for this? I need to know. But I figured I haven't watched enough of her lives to know if maybe she's mentioned that she did pay for it, because she actually went live the moment we did. But and I was watching it for a second. But if you're a scammer, quote unquote, like, you would end up some way or another having her pay for everything if that's really how you roll. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering who came out say pocket for what. I mean, and
I
did
mean,
they
if they just
go
went
to
to
the
like the
courthouse
justice
to
of
get
the peace
married?
or something like that, you can do that for like $45, $50.
Right. So I'm just wondering how, like, want, because I want to see a marriage picture. I want to see, all of that. Because when they show pictures of them, they showed an old picture and they showed a previous picture. But I want to see the marriage picture. Like, I want to dig up a marriage certificate on them. I want to see what's really going on and what it
Yeah.
say and how it go. So that would
I
be
don't
interesting.
know. I don't think I could marry nobody in 6 months.
No, you can't even learn
Not
everything
especially
about
not during
somebody,
the pandemic.
especially during the pandemic. If I went to your house, like, I don't know where you live. You could live at the last house on the left, for all I
Mhm.
know. And I wouldn't even know
Or the
anything.
Bates Motel or something. You and Norman could be cousins. I don't know.
Anywhere. Do you even have a home, period? You just don't know. You could be living at the mission. You could be living anywhere and you don't know anything about this person. You was not going to learn what you need to learn about this person in 6 months.
Mm-mm. The
Period.
only way that marrying somebody 6 months makes sense is if they've been a friend of the family for 20 or 30 years, and then all of a sudden y'all like, well, I'm divorced and you divorced, and I always had a crush on you, and yeah, well, I thought you was cute too, and then like, hey, let's go on down to the courthouse or whatever, because y'all have known each other for 20 or 30 years.
But
But
even
other
if then, you ain't marrying that person for love, you marrying for something else.
right.
If that's the case. So if okay, so now it makes me think different. Like, okay, he is a scammer or whatever, so I can understand why he could have wanted to do it in 6 months. But you ain't no scammer, so why would you want to do it in six
Well, she
months?
said she was lonely.
I'm lonely too.
I ain't that lonely though.
So I ain't about to marry the first person that come in my DM. And even though
No.
he didn't know but though she did say that he was, a friend of her mom's or whatever. But like she said, she had to introduce her to him. So it ain't like she really knew about him anyways. So that just goes to question a lot. And I would love to know more about what did the mom see in him good for her daughter in
And
order for her to be like, hey, even though you old as me, here go my daughter.
well, here's the thing. This is what I tell people all the time. Don't be so thirsty that you're drinking from everybody, because that's how you get poisoned.
Whew, ain't that so true? That is so true.
And it could be the mama said something, the son said something, and she was like, "No, that's my boo, that's my soulmate." Um, Man, let me tell you, sometimes people don't listen. My grandma told me my ex-husband was nothing but the devil standing on her porch, and I had to go find out for myself. Sometimes we just hard-headed.
Sometimes we do just gotta find out for ourselves. But hopefully, if she ever do anything past this, like, okay, girl, you should know better by now. You don't live with this, marry this man, and everything of the sort. So come on. And that goes to ask something else. So once they did get married, he didn't have a place for himself, so he obviously had to move with her.
Well, unless she was gonna live with the parents.
But live with the parents with her children, though, I just don't see that happening.
Well,
I
I
just
don't see it happening either. And see, that's why I said, how I feel about people who target people, right?
yeah.
So he probably was like, I don't know what his home situation is. I'm just speculating. This is hypothetical. Like, if he was living in his parents' basement or whatever, okay, I got the single woman. She's the ex wife of an NFL player. She's got her own home. I can just slide right on in. It's probably paid off. I could take my little couple dollars and buy a couple of blue boxes from Tiffany's or whatnot. And
And
the
you really
person,
just buy the box. Well, why wouldn't they sell the box, I guess?
he could put anything fake inside the box and go down to things remembered and have Tiffany's wrote on it. Who knows? But I'm just saying, that's what scammers do. That's what men
Look,
who target.
I sure wouldn't know. So
I mean, that's what scammers do. And let's be real clear. I'm not man bashing or nothing, because the same things that I say about men scammers are the same things that apply for women scammers. I just think that in this day and age, it was widely talked about for many, many years about women trapping men or doing, unspeakable things to get a ring, trying to be in the limelight, chasing clout, whatever. But now I think in this day and age, the men are getting their turn at it. And now it's come to where, okay, it's being talked about. And so people are kind of shocked, you know, when people mention the fact that men do get women pregnant on purpose to keep that longevity and access. Number one.
yep.
You got men out here, what we call hobosexuals, because they enter into a relationship for a sole purpose to have someone somewhere to lay their heads, or someone to help them assist with their children, or get
There's
them back
so
on
many
their
of
feet.
those.
Huh? So many of
There's
those.
so many of those.
You know what I'm saying? But I think it's shocking now because so many people are coming forward with the stories about the men doing these things that they've said, certain type of women have been doing for hundreds of years. But now, I mean, hell, even back in the days of Louis the Eighth, 10th, 15th, Henry the Eighth, and the Ninth, and all that, they had male gigolos back then too.
Exactly.
It just
It's
wasn't
been
talked
going on
about
for centuries.
for
It's
centuries.
been a back and
For
forth
both
thing.
sexes, it's been going on for centuries. It's
Yeah,
just the women was more highly publicized. But now in this day and age, with all the social media and if some before is just like, oh, I'll just leave Paris and move to London and hope nobody ever talks about it again. But now, you get embarrassed like that on social media. You got to come with the story. You got to come with the receipts. You got to, come with the I didn't knows. And then, where you going to move to? Because people in Australia know you married a scammer and then he cheated on you or whatever.
yes. When it's social media, that's worldwide. So you can't go nowhere after that. Everyone's gonna know something. You're gonna have to completely reinvent your whole entire look in order for people to not recognize you, or more than likely go into hiding until something even bigger happens and everybody don't forget about it. But people never really
Wait till the
forget about
next news cycle.
it. Yes, it's like a never ending cycle. So it's just that we seen him like the first two episodes or whatnot, and then we didn't see Kevin no more. So I'm wondering, will we see him again before the
I'm pretty. I think we will. I think we will because you have to notice with these shows, bits and pieces of conversations are lead in to the next conversation. Just like how Monique and Chris had the conversation about I'm trying to get depth from you, and then they end up going to the salt cave. Even though they did kind of talk more after that scene, certain conversations either the next episode or the following episode kind of touched back. So I think the scene about her discussing the divorce with the kids and hey RSVP with Lori, I think her having the conversation with the kids. So either in the next episode or the episode after, there may be some mediation or arbitration to get the divorce started, and there may be some meetings in regards to that, or mentions of phone calls, text messages, or something. Maybe there's him on one phone, her on another. I don't know. I just kind of feel like since she's thrown the divorce out there for her kids, maybe it's about to get ugly and she was trying to prepare them. So I do feel like he
possibly.
might appear on one or two more episodes.
I would love to see them interact together because we have yet to see that. We've seen her talk about it with amongst the girls. We've seen him talk about it, with Chris, but we have yet to see them talk about their situation together. And that's what I want to see. I want to see their dynamic. I want to see how they are toward each other and around each other as themselves. Like that's what I want to see. And that's when you can probably really compare because you get to see the body language. You get to
Yes,
see
and you're
all of that
absolutely right.
jazz.
You are absolutely right. You know what I think would be good? It would be like if they had like some type of restaurant scene where they get the private room in the back, and she bring the divorce papers or whatever, and was like, "Here's everything laid out, cut and dry." And then he says, "Don't make it seem like I'm the only one that did something wrong. You did stuff wrong too." And then of course you gotta wait till next week to hear the rest of the conversation.
Yeah,
And they
that's
just
gonna
kind
be
of
the
like
last
hash
scene.
out what took place. And then he's like, "Fine, I'll sign the papers." That's
I would,
what I
if
need to
I
see.
was him, I would, because I feel like, I mean, it would be wrong to hold this over someone's head, but if he could really do something with this, like, I'll sign these papers, but I need you to have this conversation, be woman about it and meet me face to face so I can
Hmm.
tell you how I feel. But could it
Exactly.
be possible that she would never want that to happen because she knows that's how the conversation can and probably will go if they are in the same room together, and she don't want no part of that because she seems very compelled to want to tell her side of the story without letting him tell his. And but then on the flip side, I wonder, he has a social media just like, or he could, if he doesn't, I don't know. I've never even looked to see if he does have a Instagram page. Now I want to, but he's never took it upon himself to say anything or put anything out there. You know, because as much as she talks about him, he could very well be talking about her too.
And he could just be trying to be respectful because we know what happened with the Ocho Evelyn situation. He straight up said he would never say anything bad about her. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a protection thing. There could be a gag order. There could be a number of things. And she might be paying him under the table. Like, look, you already embarrassed me once. So go and take these little couple of dollars and keep your mouth closed, and you show up on set and you only say what I allow you to say, you know. But she kind of reminds me, because I don't know what happened, you know, we wasn't there, but she kind of reminds me of the one girlfriend that's always telling you so and so said, so and so said, so and so said, and then you be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna call so and so on three-way, and she be like, girl, I gotta go walk my fish. And you know what I'm saying, she don't never want to be right there when the confrontation go down, but you always saying so and so said, so and so
Yeah,
said. So for her, I don't know if she's truly a victim or if she enjoys playing the victim. But I don't think if she's playing the victim, and keyword I said
yeah.
if she's playing the victim, then I think she does not want anybody contradicting her information.
Exactly, because she has put out so much information already. She would look very messed up if that were to ever get out that, you
Mhm.
know, it ain't what it really is and what she's portraying. Because all we have is to go by what she is saying at this point. Besides that little bit we heard from Kevin talking to Chris that day, we don't know nothing else. And as far as the show has went on, a lot of people have forgotten about that in the first place. So that's why I'm like, I feel like I need him to come on at least at the end. You know, during the play when they had the final scene where they bring everybody back who's been in the play throughout the whole thing and do that final scene. That's what I'm gonna need. That's exactly what I'm gonna need. I'm gonna
Right.
have to come back. I'm gonna need him to show up at a boys' night with Chris Quick and Jamie something.
Get
Because
a
I
little tipsy and spill all the tea.
Yes, like can we bring this all together and wrap it in a pretty bow, please? Please and thank you.
Well, I'm just saying, it just we know that some people will lie and lie and lie and lie to the very end. I mean, you can have receipts stacked up to Mount Rushmore, and they will still be lying.
And
So it just
it would look
depends.
really bad for her if she's lying. Because woman,
Yes.
you are out here calling yourself a minister. So you better not be lying. That will look very bad on your behalf and you will be going to hell. Okay? No one will be coming to your congregation. No one will be coming to hear you speak or preach over them. So she better be telling the truth. And I don't know if the whole ministry thing makes her look better to be telling the truth. And that's why she went on to be a minister. But when did you have time to become a minister anyway? While you getting divorced and everything?
All I can say is the devil was once an angel too.
Woo! That is so true. And a beautiful one at that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And all his glory. So,
But one person that does think that she is quite the devil is Ashley.
oh yes.
Now, Monique got Ashley and then Winter together for
Mm.
this dinner or whatever you want to call this. I don't know, because I don't think nobody ate, because I don't think nobody had an appetite except probably Monique. Now, Monique, once again, she brings the girls together and she feels so guilty because she made this whole entire thing worse than it actually was. Or maybe it wasn't worse than it actually was, but she brung it out because she told Ashley what Winter had told her, I guess in confidence. I'm not sure if she wanted her or expect her to go back and say something. But if you can't just sit up here and talk about somebody to your girl and expect the girl not to go back and say something, especially when you're talking about her girl and she's her girl more than you're her girl. So I don't think she understood the code there. However, when it all came out, Monique was just feeling like she said, did I do that? And she felt really guilty about the whole thing because she didn't want to be a shit starter, which is understandable. But girl, you started some shit, point blank to the period. And she was more concerned about maybe how the girls felt and then think she would want to be messy. So she brings the girls together to figure it out. And it was just a waste of time because nothing got through to these girls on either side that made any sense to either of them. Oh, RSVP with Lori said you can become a minister online in 15 minutes.
It's the 15 minutes for me.
Not 15 minutes, Lori. Not 15 minutes, girl. But that is true. You can get ordained online in 5 to marry somebody. And
right.
So I'm sure you can.
I mean, how many extra courses do you have to start baptizing people? I mean, I'm just saying.
I wonder too. But
no, you know what? I do think some things did get accomplished. And this is what I think. Okay. So Winter, as Monique said, you need to work on your storytelling skills, because the reason why there's conflict is 10% of the words, 90% of the tone. So when you came with Monique, even though you were cool, your tone was, they came for me. You know what I'm saying? And this one said this, and this one said they didn't want to talk about my husband no more. And then this one said this. And so as Monique is kind of like, not my girls. You know what I'm saying? And she's trying to be your friend. So she's like, well, yeah, this is, and so the way she, because even to withhold the truth or is lying. Okay, that's is called a lying by omission. Okay, so what you did was you went back and you said what they said. You did not mention the tone in which they said what they said. You did not put it in chronological order of what they said. And then you failed to mention what you said to make them say what they said. So you made it seem like you just sat down and you was like, hey, girls. And they was like, look, we don't want to talk about your husband no more. Mm-hmm. And why you out here telling people you heard rumors about my husband? And you just made it seem like you just sat down and then they jumped down on you. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So therefore, you gotta tell both sides. You know what I'm saying? And some people, like I'm always telling on myself, because it's like, hey, she said, and then I said, and she said, and I said, and she said something, and I gave her a real nasty look, and then I said this, and then I walked out the door. Now, how she took it, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, you gotta give as good as you get. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I don't think that she did that.
Absolutely. And that's why it went the way that it did. Because when she tried to play cleanup when the girls got together, and she's like, that's not how it was perceived. I didn't say this. I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry this. I'm sorry that. That wasn't my intentions. But it was, because that's how it came about, and you didn't stop nothing from it, from how everything went down at the Selfie Museum last episode. So therefore, That's exactly what you meant, because that's the energy you have had this entire time with Ashley since you met her. So why would it be any different now? Why
Right.
would you want to say that's not how I meant it? You meant it just like that any other time. From the time of calling quick fun size and from everything else. And it's always got to be about her husband. Like, those are fighting words when you want to talk to, you got a lot of nerve to talk to a woman about her own husband.
Let me tell you something. I don't have a husband yet, in Jesus' name.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there are three things you cannot talk about: my parents, my spouse, and my kids. Now, you can call me all kind of whatever name, whatever, because I know that I'm not that. But you're not going to talk about somebody who is not there to defend themselves. No, ma'am.
No.
I ain't gonna let I know a lot of times I say if it don't apply, let it fly. But I feel like in those regards, somebody is like testing you to see how much disrespect you gonna take for them. So if I let you disrespect my kids, then you gonna disrespect my husband. If I let you disrespect my husband, then you will disrespect my parents, and so on and so on and so on, because you've already been disrespectful to me. So you gotta check it
Period.
and nip it in the bud super early.
Period. And that's why I feel like there is no hope for these two. Too much has been said. Neither of them want to really own up to anything as far as being wrong or not. So there is no hope. And I feel like if Monique keeps trying, it's gonna make it worse, whatever the case may be. Because as you've seen, even by the end of this season, we know nothing is going to happen, because we have seen in real time now on social media text messages, social media messages being exchanged back and forth between Ashley and Winter. So we know it's not going to get any better. We know
Mm-hmm.
that by now. And even from just last week, I believe the reunion was finally filmed, and all Carlos King could do was post a picture. He had no words for how it went down at the
Oh, I
reunion.
can imagine, because
So
here's
it's
the thing.
a
Yeah.
thing.
Here's the thing. I think that Winter thought she was gonna come in and steal the show. I think she figured, okay, I've known Monique throughout various, elements or whatever, and I'm gonna be her number one. And so she said what she said, and Monique showed her, like, hey, I've known these ladies for a long time. I respect them. Because honestly, if she had a husband other than production, I don't think she would have been at the Salt Cave. Okay. She just wasn't
Right.
bringing that energy. So I feel like it's like, oh, well, I can't be a part of the crew. So I'm going to pick apart the crew.
Mm. Mm.
So I feel like she came in a little too hot, a little too rah-rah. And
Yes.
it's kind of like I've moved around a lot, right? So if I meet someone and we're cool and they take me around to their friends, I make sure I don't step on any toes. I don't ask a whole lot of questions, because yeah, I'm cool with her, but these are the people she went to high school or college with or she works with.
Yes.
And I could not be her friend tomorrow and screw something up. And she still got to go work with these people, family functions, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm trying to be
Yes.
respectful of that until we build our own, friendships. And I think Winter was so hell bent on, stealing a moment for herself. Like, I'm going to attach myself to Monique's coattails and we're going to be besties for life. And every show she's on, I'm going to be on because I'm going to be her best friend. And of course, she's already been married to one of Chris's friends, so why wouldn't they hook me up again to get married to somebody else? It's almost like, you still trying to be in the subdivision even though your house is on the other side of the gated community. So you trying to get back into the gated community. So I don't know. I don't feel She kind of slithery to me. That's all I can say. She's real
Little
slithery to me.
slithery, yeah. And that's a very good analysis, Lloyd. Monique and Kimmy play the same role. And they kind of do. I see where you coming from with that. Yep, they filmed the reunion last week. Carlos had posted a picture. I can't really remember. Oh, he posted what you call it, from one of the Scream movies. Or no, it was the parody of Scream. And yeah, a picture of her. It was really funny. He had no words. He had no words, and we all is not about to have no words very soon, because if it filmed last week, that means we're probably going to be seeing it in the next month and a half. So we're on our fifth episode. I believe it's the fifth or the sixth episode, but I believe the fifth episode. So we probably got a 10 episode coming on, possibly, unless they probably going to take 1 week off. Sometimes they take 1 week off right before they show the finale, or they may show, scenes you didn't see this year that were cut out, or however that may go. I hope we get one of those too. So I'm hoping we get
Oh,
that.
that could be real good.
That's going to be real, real good. Yes, it is, because they really came this season, and there's a lot of things that happened that we didn't get to see, which is always the case. So it's gonna be a lot going on. So yeah, so I'm really interested to see how this reunion goes, because it's about to be one for the books. I don't think they
Oh
came to play.
yes.
Now, also, Ashley and DJ Silva had appeared on the nightcap that came on right after, along with Miss Tiffany Whitlow, who was also there, and it got really steamy. They talked about a lot of good stuff this episode. Yes, it was very good. So there was a point where Carlos had asked the Silvas and Tiffany some questions, and of course they started talking about Winter. So Carlos asked Nick how he felt about Winter and calling him fun size and all of these things. And he even said himself, I'll leave the gossiping and all that type of stuff to the women. But he felt that he just had to chime in and say something about Winter, which I felt that he should have, because she has had his name in her mouth this whole entire season thus far.
Way too much. She should have been got popped in the mouth on that one. But go ahead.
Exactly. And so he says, I'm not even taking offense to the fun size. I don't make a marketing theme out of it. It is what it is. I thought it was funny. And then it was really funny, because then Ashley chimed in, because at first he was like, but my wallet ain't small, and something else on me ain't small either. And then Ashley chimed in and she was like, and he ain't a scammer.
Oh, they was throwing big shade.
So she is still digging on her even to this day. It has not stopped. And they both seem to be digging on her now.
I feel like, oh girl, don't come for me unless I send for you.
Exactly. And that is what the case is with this whole crew. And so he also what else did he ask? He asked quite a few things about Winter and her demeanor. He showed the clip of them going back and forth, and she asked, like, look, at this point, it's just a line that has to be drawn in the sand. I ain't never gonna like this girl, and it is what it is at this point. So it is very safe to say that these two will not be friends by the end of this season, nor this reunion, because they are not friends now.
Well,
and that is on everything.
And
So
let me tell you this. I tell people all the time, I do not come up in here to make friends. Unless your name is Benjamin Franklin, you are not my friend. Now, can we hang out, be acquaintances or associates, or if a friendship happens to form, Great extra is a bonus. But I do not get up and come to work and be like, who's going to be my friend? So Ashley has got the right frame of mind. I'm going to go up here, do what I need to do so me and my family can get this check. And no, I ain't got to be your friend. I cannot stomp her out every time I see her. I'll give y'all that. But we ain't going to be friends.
No, like she said, there has to be a line drawn in the sand, and that's where she drew it. She is not paying attention, and it's funny because I feel like she didn't give the type of reserve, because when she felt some type of way that Monique went and said what she said to them, but she did the same thing to Irena, because her and Irena also had an exchange that you're gonna see coming up next episode. How she want to put all Irena's business out in the street. And so it's like a tit for tat. You gotta pick your battles, especially when you're in the group with a new bunch of girls. Like, you just don't come in, swinging like that in a group of females like that you don't even know, and you the all ball out.
I got a question. How is it that an extra with no husband is causing this much drama?
Girl,
Like, you ain't even got no husband.
girl, Keisha, girl, you should watch it.
You need to tune in, girl. You need to tune in. I'm just trying to figure this out. You don't have a husband. You didn't even come on with the husband. This ain't like season 3 and you divorcing your husband. Right. This is season 1 and you was ready to divorce your husband 5 minutes into episode 1. So I don't even know why you here.
Literally 5 minutes of meeting her, we knew all of her business.
I'm lost. I'm lost.
And that's what you messed up right there. You said too much in the wrong place, first and foremost. I know it's cool to be all transparent and things, but we didn't ask for none of this. Like, make us ask the question first. You was vomit after.
My name is Winter. I married a scammer. He not blank. We about to get divorced, and I'm finna tell all y'all's business to the other girls. Claim that y'all jumped me so I can get some empathy from Monique, and then I'm gonna turn on everybody. But I still want y'all to love me and be nice to me at the reunion.
Now here's the kicker for me. So we seen, like I said, like a month ago, when like maybe episode 2 came out, when the whole thing on social media happened between Winter, Ashley, and even Monique, because it was on Monique's post that this happened. Mm-hmm. And you clearly see Monique talking back to Winter. So I am hoping that before this season ends, we find out why Monique is not even no longer friends with Winter at this point. So something definitely went down at some point to where Monique is like, I can't F with you either. Now, Monique,
let me tell you, I said there's something slithery about the girl. It's something, I don't know if she's a slug, a snake, a caterpillar, a roly-poly, whatever. Something slithery about the girl. And it's just the way she moves. You ever see somebody's picture and you be like, they're a sociopath, they're a serial killer, they ain't nothing but trouble. It's just like, it's something about her look, like she's a snake trying to portray a puppy.
She's trying to portray something, and obviously it didn't work, because the only girl that was your friend that brought you into this group no longer wants to deal with you. So that goes to show you really did. She better not have said nothing about Chris, because she want to dwell on the husband so much. Like, what is your deal? You talking about?
You already know what her deal is. First of all, misery loves company. And people feel like, okay, I'm going through this. I need somebody else to go through it with me or whatever. Or you see...
Ignore my phone. That is my mom calling. I should have just...
Oh, okay. So what it is like, okay, so y'all doing X, Y, and Z. I wanted to do that, or maybe I want y'all's husband, not to want him, but wanted my husband to act like y'all's husbands, to be supportive, to, work and be a provider and, do all these things. So I'm tearing down y'all's husband the same way I tear down my husband because I don't know, she might get a rocks off on it or something. But let me tell you something.
Right.
People have enough problems in their own relationship without the outsiders. And I say this again about every relationship show that we do. Keep them outside folks outside.
Yes, ma'am. They ain't got no business in there.
Nope.
You ain't inviting them in. They don't need to be there.
Nope, because that's not who you lay with at night. That's not who you pay bills with. That's not who you had kids with, dog, whatever. Keep them outside people outside, because what will eventually happen is she'll hit a nerve. Let's say she was cool, right? Everybody liked you. She'll say something and hit a nerve with Arena. Now she want to go home and have an argument with her man. She sit up here and say something and hit a nerve with Ashley. Now she want to go home and argue with her man. So the next time they meet, what happens? Everybody mad at they man. Girl, when we left the other night, I had to tell Jamie about himself, and he ain't spoke to me in 3 days. We just walking around the house staring at each other, and she just sitting back there loving every minute of it because she miserable and she ain't got no husband. She shouldn't even. She shouldn't even. I'm not saying that single people shouldn't hang around married people. I'm just saying single people with bad intentions shouldn't hang around married people.
That part. That part. Exactly. I couldn't agree more. So with all of that, I feel that you don't got no husband for us to attack or say nothing about. So you feeling real safe wanting to come at ours because we can't get back at you for none because you ain't got
You're already out the door.
Yours are both of them already out the door. You don't have two that couldn't make it through. So what does that say about you? You really need to mind the business that pays yours and stay out of our marriages. And I hope that's what Irena gets across to her next episode, because she obviously ain't understanding it from Ashley. Now she thought she had hope being cool with Irena because Irena tried to give her a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to go and have dinner with her or whatever without everybody else. She tried, but obviously that meant nothing to her either.
You don't bite the hand that feeds you.
She's playing both sides. Like, girl, what is wrong with you? I don't know. She's gonna have a lot.
She ain't wrapped too tight. She don't know. She must have been like an only child or something, or didn't have any friends in high school or college or whatever, because she don't know how to play the game. You don't come in and blow up the spot and then ask for forgiveness.
No. Especially that early in the game. Like, you just got here. Like, you didn't even give a chance to warm up. You didn't give us a chance to warm up to you. You didn't warm up to us. So you just came in guns blazing, swinging the bat, and we ain't even threw the ball yet.
Windmill in the bat.
Just going. Like, we can't catch. We ain't got no mitt to catch none of this because we was unprepared. Like, we ain't even in the game yet, sweetie, and you already trying to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you
doing the most, doing the absolute most.
It's like she came in with those intentions the way she came at it that quick. Like, these were your intentions. I don't know if this is what she thought was going to get her, onto the cast permanently or what, but it looked like that's what she was working toward.
Well, like, everybody loves a drama queen, but there's other ways that you can create drama without degrading your castmates' husbands.
And some people just don't know better. And I don't know what she thought she was going to do, but she went about it the wrong
way.
The wrong way. And I don't think she betted on Monique going back to tell the other girls what she said.
No, she wanted to leave those little footprints in Monique's brain so that she would be constantly questioning the ladies, and she could move into the number one spot as bestie.
Facts. That is so facts. Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions that Carlos had asked the guests, Tiffany and the Silvers. So he had asked them, would you ever, is there a sex tape? Would you ever create a sex tape? All of the, Tiffany was like the first one to say, oh yeah, I'm about that life. I'll do that. Tiffany and Lewis look like they don't made a couple in their day. And Ashley and Silver said that they got a compilation, honey, of sex tapes that they don't have. How do you feel about a sex tape? Could you have you?
I plead the fifth. Depends on who is with. It depends on who is with. It depends.
We know what that means, then. When somebody plead the fifth. You know it's the answer.
I'm just saying it depends on who is with. I ain't got none that floating around or nothing like that.
Okay. Yeah. You just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
He also asked them, do you role play in the bedroom? And that was another one that Tiffany was like, oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And the Silvers was like, and Ashley was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm about that life. What you want me to be tonight?
Well, I don't have the problem with the role play because you know what I'm saying? They say that, that way your man won't be out there cheating on you if he can get different chicks at home or whatever. Right.
That's true. Now, this is one that took me for a loop because this is where it kind of got contradictory. So he asked them, all three, of course, would you ever bring someone else into the bedroom?
No.
Okay. Now, of course, Ashley was like, that's a hell no. And Silver was like, Rihanna, yes. Because him and Rihanna. He got a thing for Rihanna, but no one else know. And then Tiffany.
Well, okay, that's a possibility of never happening.
But Tiffany said no. Now, here's the problem. We just got done watching an episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville where Lewis talked about the fact that they're very open in their marriage.
And open could mean singular, like you go do your thing over there and I'm gonna go do my thing over there, but we ain't doing no things together.
But I don't think that's how it was meant because that's where the whole, remember when Marceau was in the confessional and he was like, I need to know what you said in order for that to happen, Lewis. Like, what did you do? What did you say? I need to know verbatim. And that also, a couple of episodes prior, the Whitlows were talking with Martell, and they brought that whole threesome thing up again. So that's not the first time this threesome.
Well, first of all, that's a recipe for disaster because I don't know why any man would want to attempt to disappoint two women. But whatever. I'm just saying. Folks don't know how to act right. They don't know how to respect rules. You know what I'm saying? It's like opening up Pandora's box. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, I'm cool. I'm cool on that. If you got to go get your kicks in that type of way, you probably need to date somebody else.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't think Tiffany might, because even at that point, she said she was the one who brung it up. So she said it because at her very first date with Lewis, she realized that Lewis had a very high sex drive and he liked a lot of sex. So she knew going into the marriage, that is something that she was going to have to be giving up a lot. So she brung up the whole bring someone into the bedroom type thing. It wasn't even Lewis, it was her. So that's like, okay, you kind of contradicted yourself on the nightcap because.
Well, see, you have to break it down to the definitions of bringing someone else into the bedroom, okay? Because for someone who, let's say, is in the lifestyle, bringing someone else into the bedroom is a physical person in the bedroom with y'all, right? Mm-hmm. Now, for other people who live a different type of lifestyle or have open marriages, bringing someone else into the bedroom means that there is a third and or fourth party, which means Tiffany might have her boo thing on the side, and what's his name, Lewis,
Mm-hmm.
he might have him a boo thing on the side, but they don't bring those boo things home. Okay. Now, if Tiffany's having difficulty keeping it up with Lewis sex drive, she probably don't have a boo thing. Lewis probably has a boo thing, but they would probably never be together all at the same time.
Mm.
Like she knows about it, she understands it. Kind of like the situation on P Valley. You know what I'm saying? This is your job. This is your position. Don't step out of your lane. I'm still his wife. You just picking up the slack. You the cleanup woman. I ain't got time to be there for all of these extracurricular activities or, whatever. Because I ain't going to lie to you. Way back, there was what's her name? British. I think that was her name, British, on Basketball Wives, and she was married, or about to be married to the basketball player. And she was like, he want to have sex 3 or 4 times a day. But, he had some equipment he was working with. You know what I'm saying? And a woman's body is not going to be trying to do that 3, 4 times a day, especially during the off season when they ain't got nothing else better to do. And so you talking about 3 times a day during regular season. So we talking 6 times a day during the off season. You know what I'm saying? So, in Lewis, he gotta be all of 6'5", 6'6".
Yes, that's a big man right there.
So, I mean, I get it. I get it. That's my husband. I love him. We gonna build together. But at some point in time, you have to know the capabilities of your body.
Absolutely. That is so true. But she said she gonna work on it. I don't know what that means, but she still contradicted herself. And I'm gonna need you, Tiffany, to.
Well, you just got, like I said, you gotta define. You gotta define bringing into the bedroom, because somebody will say anytime you have anybody involved in your relationship, you bringing them into the bedroom, especially if you get to them people that talk about spiritual and soul ties when you have sex with people, you bringing that into your house and your home. So you just got to break down the definition.
Well,
But
the way that they were talking about it, it is physically bringing someone into.
oh well, see, I missed that part of it. But hey, if they like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? If it's one less black couple out there getting divorced, I'm with it.
That's a good way to put it. I couldn't agree more. That's the best way you could put it. And I think that is the best note we can end on. Well, Dina, I thank you so much, baby, for coming through with me
Oh,
tonight.
anytime, we always have a good time now. We always have
Don't
a
we
good time.
always? And I thank everybody in the chat. We had RSVP Lori, Keisha McCoy. We had Goody come through. We had Miss Lee with the T, Kiss My Cheeks, Mod Afro Mama. Thank you, ladies, for joining. Y'all always a blast. And Dina, you are always welcome to come kick it with a sister on
All
anything
right.
you want
Well,
to.
I'll let you know when my schedule
Okay.
opens up so I can, try to be through. I just, I got a lot of shows to watch, but I'll be watching yours too, because I'll be like, oh, I want to be involved with what they talking about.
Yes, it's always good because you be heavy in the chat. Like, bring your tail on here and say what you got to say, because you be having some good pointers. You be breaking it down, bringing them examples, and you be putting it all together in a pretty little look. You be going down and getting a pretty little Tiffany box and putting
Right.
it all
Like I'm
together.
like, look, I can't buy nothing in the store. How much for a box?
I can just imagine how much the box costs, though. I bet you it costs a lot just to get the box.
Oh yeah, it's probably for a little tiny box. It's probably like $30, $50 or something. I'm gonna
Girl,
call down. I'm gonna do some research and call down there and ask and be like, I just want to know how much can I get a box?
For real, I need to know. I would love to know how that go.
For
Well,
sure.
everybody, thank you for coming through, and y'all know as always, we out this nasty thing.